byword and the proverb. They call it all kinds of names. Look at what God said. Look at 37. Let's go with 37.
37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
What are you talking about, a proverb and a byword? You ain't gonna be called by your original name, Israel. You call nigger, Negro, coon, porch monkey, all this stuff. And the reason why they're so surprised to most people today, because their leaders haven't taught them this.
Come on, bro.
Leaders. Oh, this ain't uplifting in the church of the Lord. We don't need to talk about that stuff no more. They don't go on no more. Who told you that? They still call them black folk niggas. They still call them colored. They not calling them Israel. Jump down to verse 41. Like I said before, it's a very key person that they must control. Go ahead.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
That means you're going to beget sons and daughters, meaning that these mothers going to have sons and daughters, they're going to take them away from them and put them in plantations. They're going to take them, tell you had that baby, oh, we're going to sell him to Master Parker. We're going to sell him to Master Jim. We're going to sell him. Y'all women were breeders, but he had to break y'all mentally before he can control y'all. Let's look at this. Let's look at Willie again. Let's get Willie out here again. Willie Lynch. Let's go to page, let's see, page 16. Yeah, page 16, where it's highlighted at. Where, 16, 15, my fault. You know that.
The breaking process of the American woman, the African woman, I'm sorry. Then take the female, run a series of tests on her to see if she would submit to your desires willingly.
Understand this. Master knew if he couldn't get in the mind of those females, he knew he was defeated. He got to get in the mind of the females because they're the one that's raising the kids. He got to break her. If you don't break her, the plan won't work. Go ahead.
She is the most important factor for good economics.
See what he said? She's the most important factor for good economics. Because he gonna train her the way he want his slaves to be ran. Through the black woman. You merchandise. You good labor to make him money. So he got to make sure he have that woman eating out his hand. So she'll tell him everything about her black husband or her kids. Go ahead, jump down to that.
Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper in this breaking process of the female nigger.
That's what he said. Jump down to verse 14. Right here. This is what Willie Lynch is talking about. This is why our black women are raising young black men to be effeminate or homosexual or soft. Because Willie Lynch has taken the power out of the black man's head. And he did that. He doing that to modern day now of defects. Yeah, this man, I don't know if you've seen it on TV, this man overpaid his child support. And the lady said he over-visited his kid. Do you not know they locked him up? They locked him up. The reason why they locked him up is his employer wasn't taking the child support out of his check, and then once he found that out, he said, okay, I pay it. No, the judge said, no, you going to jail. He paid it and still went to jail.
That's right.
Why? Because they do not want us as men to be in our young men and our kids' lives.
That's right.
They want them to make sure they keep them women in their hand. That's why they got the government welfare. That's why they got all this stuff, to keep them all in their hands. But they started with women. Keep going.
If you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. And when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you for her normal female productive tendencies.
You got to break her. So when you break her, guess what? She gonna break them. Most of all, a woman gonna protect her kids, and she don't want them to be taken away from her. That's why he said in Deuteronomy chapter 28, "Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, and they shall go away into captivity." Because he know if he can break that woman, he got the kids. Because she automatically gonna try to protect her kids. Go ahead.
For her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process.
That's it. Let's turn to Deuteronomy chapter 28. We're going to jump down to verse 20. Well, excuse me, verse 41. We did 41 over here? Yeah, go back up to verse 20. Excuse me. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 20. This is what we're talking about. This is why our people act the way they act. This is why our women act the way they act. Also independent. Independent of what? I don't need a man. I don't need your man or what? If you then going out there having kids without me. Master say, oh, women have a good point here. We still control her. And guess what they're doing? If they don't have a man in their household, that boy can go up and say, look, I'm stronger than mama. I can try him. Try her, excuse me. But with that man there, he gonna look at his dad like, oh no, I can't try while his dad together. And they gonna grow up in a perfect family. But Willie knew it. He said, I gotta get in this black woman mind because she's the key. She's the key. Go ahead, verse 20.
Cursed be he that lieth with his father's wife.
No, Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 20. Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 20. Now we understand it now. Go ahead.
The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, rebuke, in all that thou seest, setteth thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
See, he said, I'm going to send all these cursing upon you because you have forsaken me. When you forsake me, you have no protection. No protection. When you don't follow my laws, guess what? I'm going to turn Mr. Willie Lynch on you. And his gentleman that he taught this method to. It's still working. Go ahead.
21. The Lord shall make the pestilent cleave unto thee, until he has consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it.
You're going to have pestilence cleave in you. Meaning that everywhere you go, you're going to be somebody, you're going to have experienced some type of wrongdoing, sickness, because of the conditions that you are in. Go ahead.
The Lord shall smite thee with the consumption and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
Now understand this particular verse, extreme burning. Like I said before, the woman is the key. And this is what Willie used to do with the woman. He wanted to make sure that he embarrassed, break this black man down, where he cannot protect her, and master gonna have him eaten out of his hand. Let's look at this. Let's look at this in verse right here. Read this right here. Show me the right page. Yeah. Like I said before, he got to make sure he take the power out of Israelite man's hand so he can control their family. This is the order that God got. The head of every man is who? God, Christ, and the head of every woman is who? Man. He gonna break that perfect union. Go ahead.
We reverse nature by burning and pulling one civilized neighbor apart and bull-whipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen dependent state.
See what he's saying? He said, we're going to take that black man, which they call him a nigga, this is the byword. He said, we're going to embarrass him, we're going to burn him. They took a black man, tied him to 2 horses, one hand on his arm, his legs on both sides, and they pulled him apart. And they tarred him and burnt him. And they made sure that the woman seen that he can't help you. I got him. So guess what the woman said? I better do what Master say. Go ahead, finish that.
In this frozen psychological state,
When he talking about frozen psychological state, meaning that she's standing in no man's land, like, I don't know who's gonna protect me. Because her husband or her man is defeated.
that's right.
Go ahead.
In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reverse roles.
In reverse roles. Meaning that he gonna make sure that the women are more independent. That same method still happening today.
That's right.
Independent woman. Who run the world? Girls. Beyonce song. All this stuff. Willie introduced it to him. Willie Lynch. Go ahead.
For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong.
That's what he said. These women are very important key. They're going to train their boys to be mentally weak and always dependent on mom. That's why you got a lot of boys out here, they don't want a wife, they want a mom. Because their mama have taught them to trust in her. And he want a mama himself. You have most men come out here saying, can't make a decision for their family, and they saying, oh, but let me wait. Let me go ask my wife. Let me go ask my wife, see what she say. Broken. They broken. Not saying that you can't confer with your wife, but a lot of times you got to stand in head and run it. But this is what Willie say he gonna do. Keep going.
Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offsprings to be psychologically independent. What have you got? You got the nigger woman out front and the man behind and scared. This is a perfect situation for sound sleep and economics.
See, that's what he said. He said, this is a perfect situation. Why? Because they were scared that the black men were going to get up and kill all the masters on the plantation. So what they had to do is they had to go and make sure they get in this woman's mind. And they make sure he defeat her strong black husband. They have him eating out of her hand. Now they can sleep at night. They ain't got to worry about nothing. Because the woman, she gonna make sure, no, don't mess with master. You know what he did to Mr. Jim over there? Or this other Hebrew over there, she gonna control it, she gonna run the household. Now they say this is sound sleep at night. They can sleep now. So this is what it said here, this is a little more to that. He said, before the breaking process, we had to alert on guard all the time. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of the frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. He cannot get past her infant slave process. He is a good tool, now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time a nigger boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for life, sound, and effective work, and the reproduction of good labor. I just like that part right there. Makes you understand that what these people are doing. Good labor. They making sure that we are controlling one mind so we can control everybody. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. Well, God told us this, that it was going to happen. know I probably read that over. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. We're going to read one verse here. Like I said, the head of every woman is man. The head of every man is Christ. The head of Christ is God, the Father. This is the order it must go. If you break that order, you mess up that strong chain. And one thing that white man knew, with Lynch and all this, I'm not just saying everybody did this. We talking about the Egyptians, we talking about the Arabs, we talking about the Gentiles, all of them did this. He said, we must break this family bond. We cannot have that man being strong. If he's strong, the strongest link, the chain won't be broke. But we can make him the weakest link, the chain is broken. We got it. We got it. But listen what God said here, Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. Go ahead and read it.
As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. You see what he said? As for my people, which are Israel, this is the state of our family. Children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, that which lead thee cause thee to error. If you got the woman out front, what did the Willie Lynch say? He got him. He got him in that state of mind, like, okay, she out front, I can control the family. Oh, you got that black man out front. Oh, I can't run it by him. God said he's going to put that curse on us. I didn't say that. I'm reading this to y'all. This is one of the curses to identify who is Israel. Look at your households. Single parent households. You ain't got very many men inside the household. Period. This method is still working. I don't need a man. But they're going down there to their defects office, taking that child support out, or going to get them some food stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with getting that stuff right there. But the thing is, do not neglect that black man. Let him do his job. That's a job for your family to run right. If your family can't run right unless he's there. It can't run right. Because the chain has been broken. You have made him the weakest link. And now you got the woman out. He said, you got a nigga woman who try to lead her family. This is what we want. Because she's going to protect the kid. She's going to tell master. Let's go to Joel chapter 3. Joel chapter 3, or turn to your table content. You don't hit that book very often. Joel chapter 3. Joel, Joel, chapter 3, and verse 1. Let's understand some more of these curses that are put on Israel. Another one of them things, they traded us for merchandise, goods. We were like some tobacco. We were like some wine. They traded us like that. Wow. Let's look at that. Joel chapter 3 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Understand that he said, I will gather all nations, bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. This is talking about the end. This is Armageddon. When God going to gather all the nations up and they're going to come up and try to fight God. He said, this is the time I'm going to punish these ones for punishing my kids. Listen what he said here. This is how we identify who Israel is. Go ahead, verse 3.
And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they may drink.
So they're going to give they said, look, if you want some wine, you got to give me some nigga women. trading merchandise, giving a boy for a harlot. You know what a harlot is? A whore. Somebody he can sleep with. This is what they're talking about. Look, I'll let Willie tell you. Look what Willie said. You right here in the channel, man.
Also, the varying values of many different standards. The system began with a battle of wits between the European traders and African chiefs.
Understand this, the European trader, white folks. The African chiefs, the ones that when you heard the book, when we just read about Rudolph Windsor, when he said that they were fled into Africa, escaping persecution. Our people were black, the African were black. We tried to go in there and blend with them. He said these African kings and the white folk had a plan. This is what they would do. Go ahead.
Also, the varying values of many different standards of payment. Coins were seldom or never used on the coast.
See what he said coins was never used, meaning money was never used. He said they cast lot for my people, and they given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine. They ain't use no money. We were like merchandise. Go ahead.
Mostly the chiefs and slave traders dealt in rolls of tobacco, barrels of rum, and firearms, and generally in links of iron or copper, or in pots and basins of brass. This
is what they traded you for. Not money. Like he said, a boy for a harlot and a girl for some wine. It's identifying us through history. Willie Lynch, you know this happened. If you got some form of history, you understand it. This is not too far-fetched. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30. We understand about this man. We identifying the Israelites by the curses. And y'all see in history how it lines up perfectly. Perfectly.
Exactly, bro. Without a shadow of a doubt.
We just come up with this. This started back in the late 1700s. I'm just bringing you up to modern time. Egypt, Egypt, they did worse than this stuff. Egypt did worse. I'm just bringing you up to speed now in the shores of America, what they did to us. And this is the plan that they devised to controlling the black slave. Or you would say the so-called African American that's been scattered all over the world. We line all this up. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30. Go ahead when you get it.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
What that mean? Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Meaning that master got to have first dibs on your wife. He gonna sleep with her. He gonna make sure he sleep with her. And you ain't gonna say nothing about it. How you think these people got to be light skinned with straight hair? He had a plan developed to make sure that he devised a method of pitting the darker skinned slave against the lighter slaves. The fine hair slaves against the kinky hair slaves, or the natural hair slaves. It was his plan. Go ahead, finish that.
Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereon.
They're telling you the field work. We pick cotton forever, seems like. We gathering all this stuff up, cotton up for who? Not for us. We planted that vineyard for master. But did we reap the benefits of it? No. You get a bowl of soup or something to eat, and you picking 500 pounds of cotton. You ain't getting no proceeds from it. Amen. This is one of the curses of God. I want to deal with this cross breeding. This breeding. Let's go with, let's read a little history right here. Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 30, I'm going to read that part. He says, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. That means that this is what the plan that Willie Lynch had. so he can pin us against each other. Listen to what he said right here. Go ahead, bro.
Crossbreeding a horse means taking a horse and breeding it with an ass, long-headed mule that is not reproductive, not productive by itself.
Understand this. They use the same methods in breaking a horse. Same method in breaking a horse. Crossbreeding. When you crossbreed a mule and a horse, you're going to get a donkey. Just a stubborn mule, not even, he can't think. And that's what they tried to do with us. But go ahead, listen to what he said. I'm dealing with this particular scripture where he said, thou shalt betroth a wife and another man will lie with her. It's the reason why he said this. Go ahead.
Crossbreeding niggers mean taking as many drops of good white blood, putting them into as many nigger women as possible. Varying the drops by various tones that you want, and then letting them breed with each other until a circle of colors appear as you desire.
See, that's what he tried to do. He would go down and sleep with our wives, put as many babies he can inside of her, and then they would sleep with their husband or other slaves, and they'll make different colors. Like I said, light skin, dark skin, the stringy hair, the kinky hair. He want to make all this stuff different so he can pin y'all against each other. Now he say y'all, us against each other. This method is still working today. Y'all see it in the world. Because a person light skinned, they want to get mad as, oh, she thinks she pretty. Because a person dark skinned, they want to get mad, oh, she dark skinned, I don't want to talk to her. It's stupid stuff. This method is still working. Still working. Go ahead.
What this means is this: put the niggers and the horse in the breeding pot, mix some asses and some good white blood, and what do you get?
Turn over. Go ahead. Keep reading.
You got a multiplicity of colors of ass backward.
All he's talking about is talking about horses. When he's talking about an ass, he's talking about a horse. He comparing us to horses, animals. And you got so many different types of colors, so many different types of textured hair. Now I can control them by their color, by their hair. Go ahead.
Unusual niggers, running, tied to backward ass, long-headed mules, the productive of itself, the other sturdy.
See, this is stop right there. See, this is the thing I want to just try to show you why we act the way we act. This is it. Everything in this Bible points only to us, so-called black people. Israelites, as you will call it. So-called us. This is what he's talking about. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 43. Excuse me. Verse 43. Go ahead, we use it. Same book we in, just jump out of verse 43.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
Understand this, when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, a mixed multitude came with us because they wanted to serve our God. They seen what our God did to Pharaoh. And we came out and God made us a nation and gave us Canaan, which is Israel. They saw that we were flourishing. But what happened was we wanted to do what they wanted to do, which is break God's law. We want to celebrate Christmas. We want to celebrate Thanksgiving. We want to celebrate all these days that are not written in the Bible. We've been doing this. We've been making the same mistake for eons, thousands of years. These curses are coming all the way down to right now.
Amen.
Listen to what God said He's going to do to us.
44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
That stranger that came with us out of Egypt at the time, they were with us. They seen that we were kings and queens. But now, you have started doing what the stranger doing. He said, they gonna lend to you. What do you mean by that? What bank do we own?
That's right.
what money has our face on it. The money's supposed to have our face on it. Because we are the chosen people. We reign the world. But if you want a loan, you got to go to Mr. Charlie. And you got a lot of people saying that, well, I give money to people. Man, you giving chump change. We talking about money like the stock market. We talking about who run the stock market. We talking about who run the banks.
That's right.
We have to go to all these other nations just to get a loan. A loan to pay our house, a loan to pay cars, a loan to buy our kids clothes, all this stuff. We ain't running this. What banks we on? Name one. White folk running. The Gentiles. Let's go to Romans chapter 11. But God's going to show you right here. Romans chapter 11, he put the Gentiles over us to provoke us to jealousy. To be mad because we broke his law. Romans chapter 11, we're going to start at verse 11. If this seems like a mystery to the people that's out there on the internet or in here, you ain't got one person to fault, your pastor. He should have taught you this. Instead of teaching you to get your stuff. Get your car and house and all that. Man, we got a much richer history than that.
That's right.
We were kings and queens all over the world. But he told us that he's going to make us jealous through the Gentiles. Romans chapter 11, and we'll start at verse 11. Listen to what he said here. Go ahead.
I say then, have they stomach that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
Salvation came unto them. Really, the salvation wasn't for the Gentiles at all. It's when Israel failed, when Israel broke his law, he said, okay, I got to go deal with the Gentiles now, which are the white people. He said, I'm going to use them Gentiles to provoke or to make you mad because they got it all. They got all the banks, they got all the money, they got every president you can imagine that's on that money, are white. Listen what he said, go ahead.
Verse 12. Now if the fall of them is the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
So he said the fall of the world, he said, now if the fall of them, which is the Israelites, be the riches of the world, and diminish of the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? Go ahead.
For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify my office. Just
Paul said, I'm the preacher of the Gentiles and the white people. Go ahead. Listen what he said here.
14. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them.